tell the students, just, close your eyes, just listen to the music. And while they're listening to the music, I'll put on a slide of the exterior of a Romanesque abbey church. And okay, open. And then what we do is we go inside the Romanesque abbey church and we'll look at some of the sculpture. And then from there, we can go from the Romanesque into the Gothic. Crusades are going to bring about, I call the Crusades the beginning of the modern tourist industry. Because now we move from the monastic compound into the city. And we have to be careful about the way we deal with our architecture. So instead of the horizontal quality of the Romanesque abbey church, we build up. Because we have to be careful about the way we use our real estate. And of course, you cannot chant Gregorianly inside a Gothic cathedral. So we have the beginning of polyphony to fill those lofty naves. And so there's so much integration that goes on with all of those arts. And I think we're so blessed, to have that opportunity to share what we've learned, what we're doing. Because that's what matters.
That's what matters.
Like you, I was giving you my quote earlier today. Art is my life. That's what matters to me.
What I find disturbing, Henry, and this is from the heart, is I meet quite a few individuals, just like you do, whom I try to interest in art. Try to interest them to invest a weekend or so, to go to the Museum of Fine Arts, for example, and spend an afternoon looking at the Egyptian collection, which, in my judgment, is one of the best collections in the world.
It is.
We're so honored to have the Museum of Fine Art, to have these special collections. I've spent some time with these pieces myself, but not as much as I would like to. But I'm planning to do that. One of my good friends, whom you might know, George Katsafikis, who teaches at the Wentworth Institute of Technology, teaches a course on art, and he takes his students to the museum. The entire course is done at the museum. It's remarkable. He does it equipped both with the visuality, with the appropriate texts, and suitable conversations following the visual events. But then I meet these types, Henry, who tell me art does not interest me. I find it boring. How would you make a case, like the case that you've made at Berklee College of Music? Because of you, I have heard, art history has simply become famous at Berklee College of Music. This is what Roger Brown said.
No, I follow that line of thought. One of the things that I enjoyed doing, first day of class, students are at the desk. I distribute papers. This will not be on the final, but I have typed at the top of the page, tell me what you see. And I'll put a slide on the screen. I've said hello, that's all I've said. But tell me what you see. It's a terrific exercise because for the first time, so many of these young people are in a position where they are looking at a slide on a screen. And I say to them, you have 30 minutes to work on this. I think that we are bombarded with visual images.
I see.
We can't escape them. I mean, even though Lady Bird Johnson did her best to get rid of all those billboards, they're still there, everywhere. And there are so many visuals. I mean, I am somewhat recent to computer technology, And I find myself looking at a screen, but there's something over here trying to get my attention, or business cards that somebody wants me to buy. Something horrific the other night. Oh, I mean, really disturbing. Oh, I don't know what it was for, but it was one of these commercials, probably for pest exterminators. And I'm trying to type something out, and there are roaches climbing up the side of my screen.
Right.
Have you seen
You're
that?
quite right, yes.
But these visuals, and so I think all too often, to get back what I'm saying, I want the students to realize they have a half hour, and a half hour to write about this image that is on the screen. And if, after 10 minutes somebody puts their pencil down, I'll say, well, you still have 20 minutes. But to get people to think.
Yes. Visually.
I find these are all the things I say. I don't know where I get some of the thoughts, but I tell people, and you're talking about the art museum, so going to an art museum is like going to a restaurant. I don't know about you, but I'll look at the billboard outside and see
what's in the
people
menu.
have, the purveyors. And if I like what I see being offered, I'll go in and I'll look at the menu. And there are appetizers, and there are entrees, and there are side dishes. Always leave room for dessert. And then, going to a museum. Yeah, I've heard a lot about Claude Monet, and I hear Museum of Fine Arts has the great collection of Monet. I think I'll go see Monet. Or maybe just if you're curious about it, go to the museums, any museum. Before you go into the galleries, go into their gift shop. Take a look at the posters. Take a look at the postcards that they have to offer. Museums are always going to put their best stuff out there. And you say, that work by Winslow Homer. I used to have a picture of that in my room. Say, Winslow Homer, and there's so much to learn about yourself. I think I mentioned this to you once before. I hear people say, I don't know much about art, but I know what I like. The people are actually saying, I like what I understand. Does that make sense?
Of course.
I like what I understand because then they're comfortable. But when you look at a work by Vincent van Gogh, when you look at a work by Oskar Kokoschka, Egon Schiele, these works are disturbing. And that's precisely what the artist wanted to do to himself or to herself. I find if there's something I don't like, I'll give special time to that, to find out why is it that I don't like this piece of music? Why is it that I don't like this painting? Why is it that I'm not particularly fond of this person? And in doing so, I'm finding out so much more about myself. And that's also something about studying the history of art. It's most often the victor who writes history. And I keep emphasizing that in class. But with Oscar Wilde tells us all art is propaganda, and I guess it is. If we break the word apart, the word propaganda really just means to put an image in front of. So Oscar is right. Oscar is always right. All art is propaganda. But when we're looking at propagandizing images, Napoleon crossing the Alps, I mean, that